need some screen share.
Yay!
Sweet. Yeah, if you can make sure we have screen share enabled here in a minute. I got a thing. Looks like we're down again.
Technical.
Okay, we're good. It was just me talking. Okay, hi everyone.
Let's just do this again.
How are you?
Since we're all humanists, nobody can even be mad at us. So what are you gonna do?
I'm not mad because this sugary cappuccino is the perfect temperature right now.
Is it? Are you a sissy? Do you like it? So, because Stacy is totally a sissy. She gets kid temp when we go to Starbucks.
Oh, well, I didn't know that was an option.
It is, and it makes my eyes roll to the back of my head because I'm a grown up, and if it doesn't burn me, I don't want it.
I just wait. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I can see that about you. Yeah,
I
you
like
asked for kid temp.
Interesting.
And
I know, like every time I order.
Now that we advertised for Starbucks,
I got one more person
I don't plan to ever do.
Bob Evans always brings out the perfect temp hot chocolate, just every time, every place I've ever been.
Look at that. See,
yeah. It's consistent.
We like some corporate stuff. Hey, it takes all kinds to make the world go round.
That's right.
It's about being informed about them.
Yeah.
That's the main part.
All right.
And then shutting them down when they're bad. Okay, there's two parts. Informed and then action. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, before we get started tonight, I have a couple fun things to share. Do you mind if I just do that now?
Go for it.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and screen share. I believe. I still need the screen sharing enabled. If you could, Nacha. So, say what now? I You might have made me host. Sorry, everyone. Give us just a second. I got some pretty funny stuff to show you, so it's worth the awkward wait. I apologize, everyone. Okay, this should do. Yeah. Thank you very much, Nacha. Boom. Here we go. Okay, because I said I was going to keep up on the tweets from God. I found some decent ones since our last show. One is July 21st. I'm excited for humanity to end. Should be fun. And I'm gonna skip that for now. Come back up towards the top. Right now, it's much easier to believe in me than believe in reality. July 22nd. Now that Trump has pretty well established that libel laws don't apply to Twitter, I feel more comfortable discussing the many times I saw Gerardo Rivera having sex with underage girls on Jeffrey Epstein's sex island.
Oh, he's a gem. It's hilarious. The whole page is hilarious.
It's so good. And on August 1st, thanks for the concern all, but I'm just taking time off to write my newest testament while on a working vacation in I can't say that word.
Bethlehem?
Sure. Thanks, Christy.
Enunciate. I hate when I spend the time to enunciate something, but it's from somewhere else, so I just fuck it up anyway. But yeah, I'm American. I speak American, unfortunately. That's the only language I know.
He says, I will return angrier, wittier, and more ineffective than ever in September. just in time for LEAH to school. In my absence, no one is in charge.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
So I'm gonna go.
I mean, do we know if it's a guy or a girl? I keep saying he. I probably should just say they.
I mean, we'll be talking about pronouns.
Yes,
and
we will.
that's a pin
So it
tweet
would be more
anyways.
appropriate then for me to say they are very funny, and
Yeah,
that page is hilarious. They're
really is
hilarious. Yes.
So down below here, I tweeted this out. So if you guys follow me, you'll see. On July 19th, he tweeted, the most common question I'm getting by far, over 63% of the responses is, where can I go buy some shirts, mugs, face masks that show my support of the tweet of God? Well, I know I said I wouldn't answer, but since you guys won't stop asking, he has a store.
Worst species ever.
God. This happened since the last time I was quoting this page. As at the tweet of God. Disappointing customers since
4004 BC.
4004 BC. I really love this stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty
for Carolyn, tweet of God, I tweet of God, I tweet of God. Got face masks, shirts, the face. I really want this mug. I really.
Yeah, it's great, right?
Every day is another chance to lose faith in humanity.
It is.
The problem with we the people is you, the people.
Oh my gosh, that might be my favorite one.
This shirt says worst species ever.
No, my son died for your sins, and I'll never forgive you bastards for that.
That's a good one.
It is. I'm not Roman, so I get to not be a part of that, right?
Yeah. I really want one.
Obviously, they exist because they have their own Twitter page. So
that hoodie sold out. My son died for your sins, and I'll never forgive you bastards for that.
It's hilarious.
Now that it's out, that's the one I want.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, the death rate is 100%. And then I like this one right here. This is the one I the Bible is 100% accurate, especially when thrown at close range. These are killing me. These are killing me. I love these. Pretty much everything.
Well, is it saying, hold on, there are two kinds of people. And one of them is going to get them both killed.
Both killed. What doesn't kill you just needs a little more time.
Yes.
Okay, so I hope that gave you a giggle. I'm gonna read down below, and I want you to take notice at the price of pretty much everything here. $20. So I'm gonna read this whole thing for you guys. To my flock and the flock adjacent. For the past decade, I, at the tweet of God, have been preferring my timeless words of wisdom and discouragement to you, my loyal Twitter followers, free of charge. Now it's time for you bastards to pay me back. And I love how he always capitalizes the me. It's
God.
He's very consistent. I appreciate the consistency. On this page, you will find a dizzying vanilla assorted of branded merchandise bearing my likeness and proverbs. Each item for sale was lovingly handcrafted by a nimble-fingered third world child before being imported and retailed by a shadowy multinational consortium.
Yeah.
Well, so you can feel good about doing business here. In keeping with the Catholic practice of
Indulgences.
Yeah, indulgences. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a
every purchase you make will soften my heart when it comes to judging your sins. In fact, as a limited offer to mark the launch of this page, everyone who spends more than $20 on this site is hereby entitled to one sin-free masturbation. Compliments of thine truly. So if you've always dreamed of giving money in God's name, but could never find anyone claiming the authority to take that money, today's your lucky day.
I love it.
God, just clean up afterwards. Again, everything's $20. It's fantastic. It was worth a giggle to go over. I hope everyone enjoyed that.
And the God character kind of looks like Steve McRae. I don't know about you, but it doesn't it? It looks like they took him
a little bit
the distance and then like kind of photoshopped it.
Yeah, I would totally take. I'm not sure if he has one because I haven't checked his stuff in a while. But like, if he has that picture of him in like the garb, I would take a Pope of Agnosticism T-shirt.
Oh,
I would like
piss a lot of people off and be so funny for doing because
life might already have it.
Life is too short, people. Seriously, don't take yourself or other people too seriously.
It's such a good picture, though. It's really just. Let me find it for those of you who don't follow Steve McRae.
And I'm sure many people who follow us know who he is, but I'm also sure that there is a big percentage of them who have canceled him because of
multiple reasons.
Probably. I don't follow him too close, but I do hear the chatter, and I am part of a lot of Discords, so I see a lot of the chatter that's coming through, which is good. But I am not a like gossiper. I have zero desire in it. I've always been like that. I will walk away. I'm not like, ooh, what happened? I don't like it. It doesn't further anything. But talking about ideas or things that people get wrong is okay. So I read Discord when it comes through, but I really don't. I have a one of the newer Motorola's, but Discord is still so difficult to use on my phone. I'm sure it wouldn't be on this computer, this amazing, beautiful computer that Mac came down to Florida and put together for me, with help, of course. I can't sit here to Discord. Like, I feel like life is being wasted.
Just the talks that he like facilitates, it's really great. And I haven't kept up on him in a long time. I'd like to like go see like what he's up to.
He's been doing some science and math stuff, which is way beyond anything I know. And I mean, I have to admit it. I can't be that like, yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I'm like, what? What do you say? If I could go back to school, math would not be something that I would do. It wouldn't be. History, philosophy, literature, all the things I'm interested in. And maybe I suck at math, so I'm not interested in it. Maybe that's a thing. Or maybe it's just really hard for me. And I mean, basics, obviously I get by. I'm 43 years old, I've gotten by with basic math. But when you
I could be a really good cashier. That's about it, though. Really good cashier, though.
Well, yeah, there is some maths that I would be interested in. Physics is amazing. It really is. I like geometry. I get it. I understand it. But I've never taken calculus in my life. So he sent me many months ago, maybe a year or so ago, here's my first of a series in math. You told me that you wanted to learn more about this because I would love to understand it. And I watched the whole thing with almost tears in my eyes, because if that's the basics, I need to go back like 6 or 7 years before that basic and start there. And it was basic calculus, but I the highest math I took in high school was algebra.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
And I believe I got a C minus.
Ooh.
Not because I didn't apply myself. It was exactly because I didn't apply myself. It was. Yeah. Teacher told my mom that. My mom looked at me and said, "What did I tell you before we came?" I was like, "Even everybody's right." Yeah. Well. So yeah, he's very smart when it comes to that stuff, and I would like to see him do more like that. But the show isn't about Steve. It's about cool stuff that Mac's about to tell us.
Don't tell Steve that. He won't watch. All right, let's move on then to our first topic, which has been underneath us this entire time. Oh no, it hasn't. Sweet, tweets of God. Thank you, Nacha. You're amazing, dude. You're great.
Yeah.
For someone who might not exist, you're pretty great.
Right.
Down there. All righty, cool. You take the lead. I'm gonna listen to you tonight.
Parents' pronouns. Okay. So the only things we know is that on his personal account, he changed from whatever he had it before. I don't follow him. I wouldn't follow a child. I just wouldn't. However, many people do because he's famous. He's the president's son. And he changed his pronouns to they, them. Of course. That makes a lot of people go banana crazy. And there were a few honest journalists who were very curious. They can't obviously go talk to him because that's never going to be allowed. And I don't think that it should. It's up to his parents at this point. Whether I agree with his parents or not, if they're not harming him, it's up to them. So, and I stand by that for all parents. It's up to you whether you let your children be, attacked by the press or not. However, there are many children in his school that were interviewed. And from what I could gather, not as factual, but as these children's opinions being told to me through interviews, is that they feel that their friend, Barron, whether they, them fits for him or not, they never ever agreed or disagreed. But what they did say was that it's his personal way to say, I am protesting something that you are wrong about. And any teenager, every teenager, including myself as a teenager, what is it my mom doesn't like? Well, when I rebel, that's what I'm going to do. And I think that that's the moral thing to do. And that gives me hope for the Trump line. I just hope that if that is true, that he identifies as they, them, and he is a non-binary, that his family doesn't try to send him away to fix him. That's my scariest. I hope that they love him. He's always going to be the same person with a different pronoun that has nothing to do with you. So that's what I hope for it. Although when I did see it the first time, I was like, oh, what? Oh my gosh, I hope he's not in trouble at home, was my first thought. And that's sad. That's sad that the guy that's in the Oval Office is a dad and many times over a father. Apparently he wasn't very involved with the other ones, the wives. That was their job. He said it on TV. So maybe he's not that involved in this one either. I mean, I can totally see it. I hope that he gets the encouragement to be whoever he is openly. They are, whoever they are openly. Sorry, dingling. I support it. I think that it's brave and badass just to be Donald Trump's youngest son and to have the cojones to say, well, the enter button after thinking it up and having to hit enter and making that his new profile. I support any child that is trying to find themselves, which he has many years to do. But at this age is when you start figuring out who that person is, like the bare minimum of who that person is, and trying new things on to see if they fit. And so I support all of that. And I just want to hug him so bad.
You want to hug?
Whisper in his ear,
Oh.
like, you're my hero this week. Just for being brave. Stick to your guns.
What?
If you're not, I said stick to your guns, which is the thing. If you're anti-guns, stick to your ideas. I like the old saying of stick to your guns. I was told that by.
I had heard tear guns. I'm like, what's a tear gun?
Tear gun.
What do you use for small children?
It shoots tears off your face.
Oh, it shoots tears off the face.
A tear gun.
All right. Okay.
It's in the future. It hasn't been made
yet. It's coming. It's coming. You should have got that patented.
Yes, I should have. Goodness. Yeah. Yes.
That's cool though. All right. You ready for round 2?
All of that? Yes. Okay, so I do have to, before I go into Wall of Vets, I have all of my research for the 2 stories that I'm covering all right here. All my notes, everything. Today, while walking Bean, right after I woke up, on Fridays, I write it up. So much changes over the week. I've learned to do my research throughout the week, take notes, put things in the, order that I want them in, and then on Fridays, I write it up. And then if any new news have come in that I can fact check, I add that. Well, I fell really hard, and I'm disabled, and my injuries are in my lower back, and I landed right on my butt on pavement. So that's why you see me rolling around, and why I'm way much lower than I normally am in the chair with the pillows on it. There's no way I could sit in a chair. And so there's no way that I could really write too much. So instead I went over my notes over and over and over and over again, and I will be able to do my best without writing out an article on these 2. The Wall of Vets is, to me and anyone who followed DAPL, very meaningful. The protesters at DAPL in North Dakota were bombasted. They were beaten. It was brutal to be a protester. And then veterans started showing up. And Obama, like any level-headed president who let that get that far out of hand, would see, I cannot be the president that shot our vets with gas or cold water. And I can't shut that shit down. So there are other reasons. He says, I think that it was optics. It was PR, and it was, he's already Democrat, so he's anti-war, which obviously data shows that he's no different than anyone that came before him when it comes to war. Actually, he revved it up, and then Trump revved it up 470% on top of Obama's crazy shit. So when the vets came, that stopped. That was the idea. Our beautiful veterans, combat veterans, veterans in wheelchairs, veterans without limbs, veterans who put their lives on the line, whether I agree with the wars they went in or not, I support that person, because that is a selfless thing to do for your country, whether it's for indoctrinated reasons or for honest reasons. I don't care. You're a vet. Veterans, in my opinion, as you guys know, should never go without a house, a roof over their head, food in their bellies, and a bed to sleep in. Period. If they serve their country. And I'm not talking about dishonorably discharged for raping people or doing something that, obviously makes you not a good person. I'm talking about veterans who did their service, and they deserve those basic things. Homeless veteran, to me, should be an oxymoron for everyone. So these vets decide the wall of moms is getting bombasted by these police officers. The wall of grandmas, they don't give a shit about old people. A wall of dads decided to go and protect the wall of moms who are protecting the young people who are protesting. And veterans all over this country said, you know, I signed something saying I will protect the United States of America, whether the threat is foreign or domestic. And this is the domestic threat. It's against our Constitution. It is not okay for secret police to have nondescript and just take people. And as a veteran, I can understand they fought for this country. The way that it is written, that we are always aspiring to be what is written. Now, to just stop aspiring to be those things and to go backwards is not something they signed. And so I get it. Their point was to be a wall of vets, and they stood with their arms behind their backs and their legs a little bit apart, which is at rest, meaning that, you know, no threat, but they were elbow to elbow, and they wanted to protect the wall of dads, who was protecting the wall of moms, who were protecting the wall of grannies, who were protecting the protesters. And then they got chemical weapons used on them. Yeah, God damn it. Exactly it. So
read my lips. Yeah.
Sorry, I just read our side chat. It's cracking me up in here. Not the side chat on YouTube, our personal one.
Yeah.
I love you guys so much. I'll take both at the same time. Thank you. And then I'll check that off my bucket list.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, so the wall of vets have not left. Matter of fact, there are vets coming from almost all states to Portland and heading, not just heading to other places, getting involved so that they're a part of these alert systems on their phone. So York is having a protest, and you know they're planning on having tanks with chemical weapons. They can go there and stand first line in front of the citizens, which they already did. They're not getting paid for this. They're doing this because it's the fucking right thing to do. And that's why we'll never be monetized, because I cannot control my mouth. However, I agree with everything I just said, and I stand by it. They are doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And that there's nothing more beautiful than doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do. To me, I find is what's missing in a lot of areas, issues and topics in this nation, around the world too, but just talking about here for right now. I support the wall of vets. You can hashtag wall of vets. You can look into wall of vets, wall of moms, wall of dads, wall of grandparents. And it's not grannies, it's wall of grandparents. Any of those, they are nonprofits. Their whole existence is to go to where there are going to be protests and protect the protesters, the citizens, the children, the younger generations who are out protesting for their future from being brutalized by the police that their paycheck helps pay their salary. So it's just a circle of right now. And they're not going anywhere. They're not going anywhere. Obama is not the president who shot down vets with chemical weapons and freezing water and pepper bullets and rubber coated bullets. Nope. But Donald Trump is. And so I would ask nothing more than, out of those two, who respects and loves the vets the most. Not that they both haven't done crazy shit that world leaders unfortunately do and I don't agree with. But on that topic, it's sad that it took Obama till the vets got there to step in. However, he did have a line. And Cheeto McTweeto has no lines. He probably doesn't know how to spell line. So that's where we are with that. And I know everybody's barely getting by right now. So I'm not saying to, go give the wall of vets or the wall of moms any money. If you can, that's great, even just $1. But letting them know that you support them, just sending them an email saying, I'm Christine in Florida, and I am watching this, and I am with you in solidarity. It is so meaningful to know that they have support from all over this nation is what's going to really get them through. And I can say for myself that, getting that, you did a really good thing for the right reasons is awesome. So I think they deserve it. I do. What do you think about that, Mac?
I think this the whole concept that they have to be there is crazy in the first place. Obviously. But I mean, I'm glad they are there because the protesters really do need all the support that they can get, and the people protecting the protesters. Like, one of the things that I was thinking as you were going down the line of the lines of the walls is that, like, there needs to be a hashtag like wall of guard, like National Guard needs to be out there, like defending the protesters. It's like that should be the next is like active duty people.
Yeah, that really scares me though. Whenever I'm not saying we're at the point where a coup d'etat is about to happen at all, but we are coming up on November where there will be an election. And if he is voted out and decides that he doesn't want to leave, he wants to throw a fit. If he has the military behind him, we're fucked. That's how dictatorships happen. A leader decides he wants to be in control of the power, and he makes sure that he has the military to back him. When it doesn't work, like in Venezuela, special forces have gone down to Venezuela and offered plenty of money to generals to flip sides, to go against their president, and they've just stood in solid solidarity. And whenever someone does, because they, for whatever reason, need that extra money, and that's who they seek out, people who are in, they're about to lose something, they need something, they say, hey, we can give that to you if you go against your president. The ones that are found out are immediately taken out of the military. So there hasn't been a coup d'etat there. It would be crazy if that happened here. I'm not saying it can't. I'm not saying it can. There's only been one coup d'etat inside the United States of America that is a fact. And that was right after slaves were set free and were able to, the Reformation, they were able to run for office, and complete governments would be black from top down because it was a black area. They didn't want to be represented by white people who didn't even live there. And, maybe I'll cover that for you guys coming up on a week. It's a fascinating story. It's terrible and heart-wrenching, and many were killed. They burnt a lot of things to the ground, but they took over by gunpoint and had an election the next day and just put people places. There were no more black leaders in that area, and that's not about right now. However, they had the manpower, and so does our military. There's no organization on this planet that has more power than the United States military. And it's just raw power. It's scary power. It's so, obviously, as we're seeing in the protests in the streets, that the people, the citizens, can't fight them. They have tanks. They have helmets. They threw a rock at you, so you killed them? Like, are we Israel now? Yeah, it's a banana situation. 2020 is not done fucking us. Let's just say that.
Aww.
And I've never been asked for consent, and no lube has ever been added. So I'm about over it. About sadist.
No kidding. 2020 came without consent.
It did. It's rude. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All
And then
right.
we do have a topic that will bring us down a little bit, but
Is this about Lebanon?
affordable housing.
Oh, yay! Even better.
That's last. Yeah.
At least I'll end on a blower
So
upper.
yeah, we'll end with one that's really crazy. Although we don't know, there's so much still coming in. So affordable housing is something that I spent all week learning as much as I could that I didn't already know. Numbers, statistics, and I didn't know how surprised I was going to be with how bad it is. I mean, I know we hear it's been bad. It's been bad for decades. It's been bad since the late 70s when things started to go this way. As far as wages, they just kind of stayed the same, but everything else kept going up. So we have decades and decades of that. Americans have been struggling to make housing costs, rent, and mortgage, all of them. And nobody has really stepped in federally to make sure that all of these three, starting with the family who's renting a home, they can't pay for. Well, that home has a mortgage that the landlord owns. Now he can't pay that. That's not fair on him either. So it can't just be for rent, it has to be for mortgages also. And I see no problem with just putting a pause on it. A pause. Not adding anything to it, not saying you have to have it all by a day. A pause. Nothing is due from the landlord to the bank, from the bank to their people, all the way down to the renter who's holding the house until this is over. And then however many months it takes, add that to the end of the lease and just pick up where you stopped. So if you weren't able to make May's rent, you weren't able to make June or July. You probably won't be able to make August, September, November, or December. But maybe in January, you can make rent again. But you would just pay January's rent. All these months that you missed, they're just going to be added to the end of your lease. You'll now have a longer lease than you thought of, but nobody's hurt by it. And other places have done this. It's very simple. I want to say in April, 24% of Americans could not pay for housing or rent. 24%. In May, it was 31%. June, 30%. That's why Trump said it's going down, that 1%. It's going down, everybody's fine, open everything up. In July, it went back up to 32%. So we'll know August numbers soon, and it already looks like it's about to be 40 to 41%. Right. September looks like in many states, over 50% of the citizens will not be able to pay rent. So if Trump or the powers that be think that Black Lives Matter protests are bad, wait till 50% of your state is marching on the capital of your state, because that's a whole different ball game. This trend is worrying experts, I kept hearing, reading everything. And I'm like, right, obviously, fuck an expert right now. These trends are worrying moms and dads and grandpas who are set on a budget, that budget that pays exactly what they need each month with maybe $5 or $10 to play with, that they save up so they can buy Christmas presents for their grandchildren. They can't. They can't. If an emergency happens, how do they get back on track? If all of a sudden they had $10 extra each month for however many months they've been on retirement or Social Security or disability, whatever it may be, Then they have a $400 emergency. Well, they don't have extra. So something the next month isn't going to get paid. And that puts the elderly in a stressful situation. On top, it's like one small domino, and each domino gets a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And someone pushed that first one. And so that's what's happening around the world, but it's being handled differently. A massive wave of evictions will be coming once local, state, and federal moratoriums on evictions expire, which was 2 days ago. So that being 2 days ago, I would say that people who have no income because of a pandemic, who were living paycheck to paycheck, like over 45% of this country before the pandemic, they're going to be evicted, which means what? Each family is going to be different. Some will live in
riots. It means riots.
It really does. I mean, it really does. Some will live in tents, some will live in campers, some will go live with family, some will spread out. Like the mom and dad will spread to different houses, and the children will stay with different people. And that's awful. We are better than that. We're so much better than that.
And some will live at like whatever 7-Elevens are left.
Yeah. There will always be 7-Elevens. You're right, unless they're privately owned and not a corporate part of the chain. I found out that if an individual in the United States, they take their whole monthly income, coronavirus before, it doesn't matter. If your entire monthly income, if your housing cost is between 28 to 30% of that total income, you are what is called rent burdened, because no one should have to pay more than 20 to 25% max out of their monthly income for their housing. And that's what a bank would look at if you were looking to buy. That the mortgage is under 25% of your monthly income. And of course, it's different. Other places, it can go up and down, but rent burdened was a new term I had to learn. And another new term I had to learn, we've heard of working poor. Now we have massive populations of working homeless. So looking into that, I found that there are many Americans who have degrees, who are working 30 to 40 hours a week, plus a part-time job, plus raising 1 or 2 or more children, who are homeless because the area they work in, they cannot afford to live there. It would be 80% of their income. And that's the cheapest they can find it. I found out that there has been lots of fraud with affordable housing. There is hardly any oversight. So let's say the federal program for affordable housing gives each state certain amounts. Red states less because, government don't pay for me. And blue states more because they're like, yes, we'll take more help to help more people. So what happens is those billions come in, and 1, 2, or 3 companies who are building companies, concrete companies, or complete builders, they from the bottom to the top of the house they build. They take these contracts to build however many homes. They're supposed to be affordable housing, and they upcharge everything. So they're making millions a year off of tax paid programs for affordable housing. Right. It's infuriating. And there are lots of different studies that you can look into yourself. Where does affordable housing money go when it reaches the state? What kind of oversight does that state have? And why doesn't that state have any was my question, because many states don't have any. Like, it's a free-for-all. When it comes in, you as a corporation, as a company, can go apply to be one of those people, and then they just hand you the money for however many units you are going to build. Well, things happen, storms happen, life happens, you weren't able to. There's no oversight, is what I'm saying. It should be doled out as a per, you got this done, here's some more. You got this done, here's some more. You got this done. As us workers, the workers of America, we don't get our salary up front for the whole year. We have to work for it hourly. So I don't see why the money coming from the people who get paid hourly, for the most part, of course, all people in America pay taxes except for millionaires, billionaires, and corporations like Facebook and oh god, that's a whole other topic. I went down reading into all this stuff because in Silicon Valley, where we have Microsoft, not Microsoft, Facebook, Google is moving there, Twitter has, okay, so these corporations move in and they start off their, not their kitchen workers or their janitors, not them, the people they hire who bring resumes. The smallest amount I found was $155,000 a year with full benefits. And that's starting. For a Facebook, it was 178,000 and then some. So almost 180,000 to start. So automatically this entity is there paying all of its workers that aren't, you know, the cleanup crew, the janitors, the kitchen ladies, the not the service workers. They're paid minimum wage. However, those people who are paid minimum wage and work many more hours than the people making $180,000 a year, they have to commute. They can't live in that area because now there are all these people who are making a really good wage being able to buy up houses. I found in one study that there was I found a lot of very vile things. There's classes you can go to help you bank on other people's tragedies. So, like right now, with all this going on, they're revving up these classes to get ready for all the foreclosures so that you're wealthy, you can go in and snatch them up and buy them for cash. And now you can, the homeowner that lived there was paying, you know, $500 or $600 a month in mortgage plus their insurance. Well, you got it for way under because you paid cash and it was foreclosed and the bank just can't hold on to it. And you're charging $2,500 a month for rent. Well, nobody can afford that, but all of the new wealthy people that moved into the neighborhood can. So the people who lived there their whole life, whose grandparents lived there, they can't pay property taxes on a house that was bought for $11,000 100 years ago, 50 years ago, $14,000 50 years ago. Now the taxes each year are more than they make in a year. So that's gentrification. So there's like all of these different things coming in that are not helping people. San Francisco alone just legalized their first tent city. They sanctioned it. It's fine. It's fine to live in tents. It's fine. They have a whole row of porta potties. They have showers. They have a charging station so you can charge. But then you go sleep in your tent without air conditioning or heating or water if you need to wash your hands in the middle of the night because your child got sick. You know, sometimes when you wipe a diaper, you get poop under your nail. I've been there. It happens. You have to wash your hands. You cannot just use a baby wipe. That's not appropriate, people. I don't think that it's appropriate. I mean, I understand that these people need a place that's sanctioned, that they're not going to get kicked out of. They have guards so they can leave their personal belongings and know that they won't be stolen. I can tell you that that's very important to be able to have a stable place where you can sleep and not have to stay up all night because you're worried about what's going to happen at night when you fall asleep to you or your stuff. I get it, but we can do better. We can do so much better. Facebook, doesn't pay taxes, but has built shelters for homeless. They have. But if they dedicate $1 billion over a 10-year period, that's not shit. I'm sorry, it's not. Congratulations. I heard they donated $1 billion for housing. I was like, woohoo, what are they going to do next year? No, that includes next year or the year or the year or the year after that. That's not okay. That doesn't take away from the taxes, because I can tell you that if Facebook had always been paying the taxes that they owe, they would have been paying trillions into the economy. And this wouldn't even be a problem because housing would have been built. Education centers would have been built. It's just, it's disgusting. It really, really is. I did want to also say that gentrified, to me, after doing all this week of reading, it's like cheeky, tongue in cheek. I understand it has a definition, and it's a freaking nice word for people in communities being displaced, is all it is. It's all it is. If houses get foreclosed on, wealthy people are able to either buy them up. That one of the companies that does this doesn't even live in the area, has 180 homes that they bought up in foreclosures during the financial crash of 2007, 2008. And they rent them out at like 4 and 5 times what the mortgage was for the people who had lived there their whole life. So the people that wanted to stay in their house, even though it had been foreclosed on, which was an option for some people, they wouldn't have been able to afford the rent. They were paying, 300, 400, 500, 600, because when they bought the house, that was the average mortgage in these areas. In the 1950s, the medium rent in this area was between 250 and 450 a month. 450 was like you're living in a mansion. And now we're talking like 3,500 for that same place just to rent it, and to own 180 of these homes and not even live in the area. And that's just one problem. Another problem we have with the housing is China. Many other countries as well, but China beats them all. Like, you add them all together, just like how our military adds the next 10, 11 countries together. Okay, so China has all of these millionaires, because we all know it's not a communist country. It just is by name. However, these millionaires do have to do something with their money or they'll get taxed higher in China. So they spend a couple months abroad buying houses for cash. And so if a house in San Francisco is for sale for 1.4 million, which is the average cost for the median price for a house is over $1 million in San Francisco. And these are the same houses that just in 2010 were between 500,000 and 700,000. So it's comprehensible what is going on. Chinese businessmen, millionaires come over and they say, what was that? 1.4? Here's cash, 1.7. So what's that do? Well, it makes the property tax go up in the whole neighborhood. And if they dot these houses throughout the area, they also pay people to come and make the house looked in. Put shoes by the front door, pick up the paper, make sure the mail's never full in the mailbox, move stuff around, turn lights off. There are companies now that have sprung up whose sole job is to make sure that these millionaires and billionaires who buy capital homes, just a place to put their capital in, to dress their homes, to make sure that it looks lived in, have the driveway, have the garage door open, have it closed, have a car there. It would be the car of the person who's doing this, of course. But that's a whole job now because of foreign people coming in and paying above price in cash. regular people cannot compete with that. I don't personally know a person who could buy an over $1 million home in cash, except for Mac. I'm just kidding. Yes, Mac.
I can do it.
I'd have to steal the money first, but I could totally do it.
Yeah. Do you mind if I segue a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. So speaking of people who can afford it, Bernie Sanders and Ed Markey and Kristen Gillibrand just all they're pushing some legislation right now. It's called the Make Billionaires Pay Act, and I'll read a little bit of it to you here. This is from CNBC. It says that the Make Billionaires Pay Act would impose a one-time 60% tax on wealth gains made by billionaires between March 18th, 2020 and January 1st, 2021. They picked that date because that was one of the main shutdown times for a lot of states. I know it was for my state. Because a lot of these billionaires have been making bank off the market still, even though everyone else is like drowning. And it's because of the economy is just working in their favor. It really isn't fair. They're not working for that money, and they can do a lot with it. So let me go on. The funds would be used to pay for out-of-pocket healthcare expenses for all Americans for a year. As of August 5th.
Say hi to my daughter, Isabel, real quick. Sorry.
Hey, Izzy.
Hey, Max.
How are you?
Good, tired.
She just got home from doing some daytime, light evening fun time with her friends.
Oh, very fun. We said fun, and she just looked dead in the eye.
I'm so tired.
What are you guys dancing?
We went to the St. Pete Pier.
Oh,
We've been out in the sun.
Yeah, we'll go relax. All right, carry on. Sorry, my daughter's more important than your words, obviously.
I'm used to it. All right. All right. So as of August 5th, the bill would tax $731 billion in wealth accumulated by 467 billionaires since March 18th, according to a press release. If passed, the bill would tax billionaires on wealth accumulated through the end of the year, however. So again, let me sum up what I just said again. The Make Billionaires Pay Act would impose a one-time 60% wealth tax on 467 billionaires, on 467 people in our U.S. population. It is literally 0.001%, I believe, of the population would be hit by this bill. And it would accumulate $731 billion. And it would pay for all the healthcare plus some.
And you gotta imagine, these guys won't feel this. They're not gonna go, God, I really wanted to go buy that 5th yacht, but I can't. They can buy as many yachts as they want.
Yeah. So that said, let me give you the numbers here. And again, Jeff Bezos won't really, it's not gonna hurt how he lives at all.
Won't feel it.
It will change how he spends money because he'll have to buy a few less yachts.
Actually, with what he has, it would never. he will
I
never
don't
be
think
able
there's
to
enough
spend it.
yachts to buy.
Yeah, he would never be able to spend it. He could buy a yacht a day and never run out of money. So think about that.
Yeah. So Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos would pay a one-time wealth tax of $42.8 billion. Tesla and SpaceX CEO Elon Musk would pay a one-time wealth tax of $27.5 billion. And Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg would pay a one-time wealth tax of $22.8 billion. And the Walton
Yes.
family, Walmart, would pay a one-time wealth tax of $12.9 billion. And again, these 467 people of just 60% of the wealth that they accumulate for this year.
Yeah.
Would,
this year only.
Yeah, would give the U.S. economy or government $731 billion, and we can help a lot more people than 467 billion, or just 467 people. We can help hundreds of thousands. It's this should be an easy get. This really should be just not, excuse me, up for debate. This is easy.
It's very easy.
Do it. And I
think it should be harsher, honestly, but I'll take it because it is so, like you just said, there should be no reason to oppose it for anyone because it is that easy. I think that it will catch some leverage. I'm not as secure that it will pass. However, because it is so easy and they won't feel it and people are suffering, I feel that citizens can guilt them into doing it by sending them emails, sending them letters.
Yeah, we gotta try at least. So, yeah, I wanted to share that. I thought it was important, especially.
It is important. I'm of the belief that monopolies should be broken up.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Okay.
And it's weird because our rules for this nation also say that. Go figure.
What you said?
Go figure. The rules, like we have anti-monopoly rules.
Yeah.
We have rules that say you cannot have the reach that you have, the power that you have as Facebook. But we didn't have tech companies when they were written. The laws that we have on the books that are anti-monopoly that would break up these trusts were written as the industrial era started just taking off. And so now all of a sudden we had all these new jobs. We had child labor. We had women being locked up in rooms on like the 8th floor that weren't allowed to leave until the whistle blew, and fires happening in buildings. That happening to children because they leave because they shouldn't be working. They would lock them in. Well, if something happens and it catches on fire because there's freaking children working there, well, they can't get out. And so that happened too many times. And so tons of laws were written, not just the anti-monopoly. That was the last time. That was over 100 years ago. It's time to bring those back up, modernize them, make them work for the tech and the gig world, because not one person or one company should have that much power. Mark Zuckerberg reaches over half of this planet with his app. That's too much power. Just saying.
I agree.
And to not fact check anything. Like the Boogaloo Boys still put stuff up on Facebook. Ew. They can have their own website.
Yeah.
Facebook, you're your own. say, no, I'm sorry, you can't put your hateful bullshit up here. I'm sorry, you each individually can have a Facebook page, but the Boogaloo group can't. It was disgusting.
All right.
Oh, Andrew T just became my favorite chatter tonight. Just want to say.
Let's see what he said. His dog sleeps.
He says my sister. We do get asked if we're sisters when we go out, but not anymore since my hair is silver, actually. Kind of sad. Before I, decided to grow it out, which it is 60 weeks today, so a year and a couple months.
Very nice.
I would get carded all the time. We'd get asked if we're sisters all the time, and I'd be like, wait, hold on, how's it go? Let me get my ID. So proud to have it. But, I like my silver hair, so I guess I'll get carded.
Yeah. It's cool. It looks real good. What week are you on today?
60.
60?
Yeah, 60 weeks.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Alrighty. So this has been depressing. Let's move on to Beirut.
There are many things that you can do. You can pick up your phone and dial 211. If you or anyone you know are facing any kind of housing uncertainty, 211. Very easy to remember. 911 for an emergency, 211 for housing or any kind of we don't know where we're going to sleep tonight, or we don't know if we can pay rent in 2 months. It could even be that far off. Like, we have it this month. We'll probably have it next month. We might even have it the month after, but we're not so sure. Remember, I told you that new term I learned, rent burden. If you are rent burdened, you dial 211 and they will, it's national, so they will set up local places for you that will work with you. And as long as you are, if you're at home and you're terrified that you're about to lose your home and you don't do anything about it, you're going to lose your home. But if you reach out to the nonprofits that are around you, there are things that can be done. And I'm not saying it won't or will save every single person, but you'll have a community of people who understand what you're going through and will help you get through it and move on to the next phase of your life if you do have to let a property go. So, yes, we can move on now.
Good share. Alrighty. I know next to nothing about this yet. I haven't been able to actually look this up. So I'm really excited to hear what's going on.
Yeah.
In Beirut.
With the Beirut. Well,
Okay.
I didn't write down any of the numbers of how many tons or pounds of the highly flammable.
Multiple.
Yeah. And it had been sitting there for a while in Beirut.
Maybe
sure
7 years.
What?
Was it 7 years?
Yes, it was 7 years.
Yeah, I see. I know something.
Just sitting there, very flammable. It would only take a spark. However, that's all it took. Welding was being done, and a spark from the welding, which, if you live in a country that doesn't have strong standards on how far away from things you need to be when you're welding, those things happen. That's why it's so important. A lot of people call it red tape or bureaucracy, and we used to call them protections in this country, and now they're called regulations. Go figure. However, I would prefer the safety of that much flammable chemical that is used to make bombs and other things, many other things. I wouldn't want welding next to it. It's really, really sad, the Beirut There's hundreds of thousands of people affected by this who went from, there's a video that I can post underneath this actually, of a woman on her wedding day. She's posing in front of the buildings. They, get her head, her face. They're like going down her beautiful gown. And all of a sudden, this just massive boom happens. And then another one happens. And then the next shot you see is some things falling and people trying to get the bride in somewhere safe. Just goes to show you that these things are important. Knowing where chemicals are important. And we are the only species on this planet who uses chemicals like this. So it is our responsibility as a human in specific countries to make sure that they are not misused or misstored or forgotten about. When you look at the aerial pictures, sorry, Jolly Rancher, when you look at the aerial pictures of this particular new word, particular the ground, like a peninsula, like Florida, only much, much smaller, has water on three sides. And it was solid. And now there's this huge chunk that's just not there anymore. It's just water. Like they lost a lot of this little peninsula. And the homelessness is massive. I mean, it blew windows out for miles of buildings, of houses. We're going to have to watch this to see. It's COVID. It's a little bit early to see how they're going to handle it, because right now they're still searching for survivors. So I'd say probably by Monday we'll have more information as far as numbers go, survivors, injured. There'll still be, so many homeless people who weren't before this accident happened. Accidents happen. That's why regulations, aka protections, are so important to have. And our dingling president said, he was like, let me pull this right out of my ass. It was a bomb. They were attacked. So I doubt that happened. I don't know. I do have to preface that with, I don't know that it wasn't. I don't have any information that I could show to you that it wasn't, except for what we have been told by everybody that's there, everybody on the ground, and the owners of the property where these chemicals were stored. They knew they were there. They had been there. So to not know that there would be welding going on means you're not communicating, or maybe you knew and didn't understand the big warning signs all over the barrels of whatever they were, whatever it was in. Maybe you didn't know how to read it. Maybe it wasn't, they couldn't see it from where they were. Like I said, we'll find out much more about this. It is scary that something like this unintentional thing can ruin tens of thousands of people's lives in a matter of like 5 seconds. So
yeah. I'm just seeing some of the video for the first time. I really haven't had time to look into it. Just heard a little bit. It's pretty crazy.
Yes.
I'm looking for the blast radius.
Let me see.
9 kilometers, maybe?
Uh,
6 mile radius of 9 kilometers.
I can't convert that into my head to American, so.
That's okay. I just found two different sources. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yes, it is. Low. There we go. And then I'll try to. Does yeah, here it is. I will share this in the chat so you guys can see. Yeah,
2,700 tons of
I'm sorry.
ammonium nitrate.
Yes, that's what it was. Copy link. Got it. And I know how to do this. I've done it before. Paste. Ta-da. Now that one is of a woman's wedding day. You know, nobody had any idea that anything was happening like that.
Yeah.
Right. And she's in the industrial, for me it would be like being downtown Tampa, big buildings everywhere, and that's probably where the event was going to be happening, and she was just having her pictures before the wedding. And that's really terrifying. What if her house, I don't know anything more about her. I don't know if she's one of the unfortunate people of Beirut that no longer has a home. And yeah, I think we'll definitely bring it up next week when we have more information. I hope that every one of you, you know, at least looks into it a little bit. A lot of damage was done over, I think, negligence, and it's unfortunate.
Trying to look on the bright side of things, though. I mean, a lot more people are going to see her wedding pictures. That's
Yes,
nice,
they
right?
are.
And they are really pretty.
They are. Yes, I don't agree with women covering their hair, but I have different reasons. But I also do not take away the right of a woman who wants to cover her hair. I don't think that that's okay as well. And that is a very popular tradition, especially for the more wealthy, to have the headdress completely match with the wedding. It's very cultural and very beautiful. That's the only reason I clicked on the original video, which wasn't from someone telling us about it. It was her video. I was like, wow, look at this. She's gorgeous. And I've done weddings, hair and makeup for weddings throughout my career as a cosmetologist. And it's an exciting, wonderful day for the people involved, especially the bride. And to be outside just soaking in all that, like it's all about me. Look at me, I look like a queen. And then behind you just sound like Armageddon just happened. Her wedding will be memorable, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even here in Florida and Ohio and Australia, and to everybody who is listening.
True that.
It is.
All right. Well, that's pretty much our show for the night, isn't it?
It is. It is. Hopefully I'll be able to sit, like, as you guys see, I'm on a bouncy ball. I'm on a big yoga ball. It's way easier to sit on than there's no way I would have been on the chair, because I am normally about like this high. When I sit down here, you don't see any of this above me. But I couldn't sit on a chair tonight. There's no way. So hopefully with some physical therapy, getting into the inversion table, it won't hurt so bad next week, and I'll be able to do less from memory, and have more statistics. Numbers are hard for me to remember. I don't know Stacy's number by heart.
I can remember the numbers. I just can't remember the words next to them. Here's a number. Here's a number. Here's a number. These things.
They mean stuff.
I can't remember.
I'm not sure what.
It's basically like I can give you like a list of words, a list of numbers, and then you just got to draw the lines yourself. Like just like, hey,
numbers
I
are hard.
did my part as well as I could.
Yes.
Do something.
Yeah, I get
coming
it.
to watch me.
And names for some reason are so hard to remember for me. I can remember the face, remember the story we talked about the last time we met, remember how what our opinions were on it, but the name, I don't know. That part of my brain has marijuana in it, I think. I do. I think that's where it stores it, is that the name part.
Yeah.
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 Can't have everything, guys. Life isn't about having everything. Bezos, Zuckerberg. Not to name anybody, but
But these names.
those two.
Yeah.
And a few other. There's many other, actually. Yeah, that was our show. I'm glad you guys came and spent your Friday with us. And sorry I'm so low to the ground and all bouncy and moving around. And I guess all I have left to say is stay humanist.
Stay
for
humanist, for God's sake.
That's right, Mac.